The next segment is being presented by Jim Fazl, our Western Division Director, and he's going to talk to us how to create a successful brochure for your media, whether it's online, in print, or wherever you want to do. Please put your hands together for Jim.
Okay.
Unmute yourself.
Thank you, Con. Firstly, I'd like to ask a quick question. How do you all make your flyers? What program do you use? Feel free to speak up, ask any questions at any time.
I use a thing called Canva.
Yes.
We've used Publisher.
I use Canva or PowerPoint.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. So for starters, when we are looking at doing our flyers, probably the first thing to look at when we do this is and I will share screen quickly, is the brand manual, the new and updated brand manual. Really, brand manual is in two parts. The first part tells us how we should speak as a Toastmaster, an elevator pitch, because it has to be on brand. But we're more interested today in the second part, which is how to do flyers. Realistically, the logos and whatnot, we'll talk about that in a second. But firstly, most importantly, is the colors we can use. Basically, Toastmasters are allowed 5 separate colors that we can use in our flyers. That's it. This particular red, a blue, a gray, 6 colors. They're yellow, and there's black and white we can use as well. The yellow is meant to be as an accent color, meaning you can use it for words or for bits and pieces, but not for the entire page. So really it's these 4 colors plus black and white. And we need to think like that when we do it. It's kind of like our limitation. So what can we do within this limited space? That's the challenge that we have. And before we think about actually doing a flyer, I would actually recommend everyone at the beginning of the Toastmasters year to do a bit of a template. And I will show you very quickly an example of one that I have done. Here, and we can share screen. A quick template, just a basic border. So you've got it there, which is good for 2 reasons. One, it means you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you want a flyer. And secondly, it's something that is consistent messaging for your club throughout the entire year. So say on Facebook, every flyer you've got is this, it looks the same. So it's on brand, whatever your club's branding is for the year, using the same colors I just mentioned. And at the beginning of each year, you could sit down with your executive and say, do we want to change what we want for the year? Or do we want to keep what we've had last year? You can change it, no problem. And then you just go back to your club and say, this is what we've decided as our quote unquote brand for the year. Is that okay? And the membership will more than likely say, sure, go ahead. And it makes it much easier for your membership to just have a basic one. If we go into something like Word or Pages, you can mock up the free share screen. You can make one very simply like this. That's a very basic one. I'll do it on a second page to show how it can be done. You just go into just shapes. Use the first shape and we make this the whole screen. And then we go color. You have to remember to pick we're going blue on the outside. So remember, we need to pick that right color, which is, the color is, what was it? 004165. Yeah, 004165. That's one. Then we go here, close that. Here, make a second box about there. Bring it all the way down. Then we go to color And we need to pick the red color, and that is 772432. 77243. That should work. No. Yeah. And then we go get a third box, here, which we do again. Corner. And bring it down. And then we just make that a white box. And there you have a very basic border that you can use. And just to type in, you just can create a text box, bring it up to here, bring it down to there, and they're done. And then you save that as a Word document or Pages document, and that's a very basic border. You can get a lot fancier if you want, and use borders like the one that I have in the template, which is, where am I? Here. If we go back to here, to screen, you can make one more fancy like that if you're so inclined, or you can even go completely fancy if you're really interested, and make a border if you really want to, even something like this. Again, even more fancy if you're really so inclined. But I think that's the number one thing we should do, is create a template for the year. Once we've got our template done, then we need to fill it with content. And the first place we should go once we've thinking about that is to the Toastmasters website, which is here. I will share screen. And then on the Toastmasters website, we are looking to go to resources and brand portal. And at brand portal, first we can firstly look at the logo design elements. This gives you all different elements you can use. For example, do you want the Toastmasters logo? There it is. You can make it bigger or smaller if you want to. You can say if you want to use there's even one you can use for Facebook events and other things if you're interested. And there was a Pathways one, if I pays in a Pathways logo here, which you can use. And what I would recommend everyone does is go into, save them all onto your desktop into a folder. So you've got them all at easy access, all these different logos. There's even things like, no, click that, where is it? There's we have the, no, that's all there is. So save, keep these same, and that's a, no, we'll close that. Once we've got all that information on our computer, then it's almost a good idea to go and get a bit of pen and paper and think about what is our message, what are we trying to say, and how are we trying to do it? Do we want images? Do we not want images? Or are we looking at just text on our page? If we are looking for images, then what we do is, my share screen again. For images, we go again to resources, again to brand portal, and then we go to professional images. click here for access. Give it time to load up. We go into our public gallery, sounds good. Then you've got the old magazine archives, if that's your thing. But more importantly is the Club District Content Archive, branded photos. And there are 6 sets of branded photos that you can go through. And that's what we can use for our images. So we don't need to get permission to use any of these because they're already approved. I'll give you an example of one that I have used. We go to here, to this one, the screen. As you can see in this one, flyer I did for a pathways workshop. As you can see, the middle part I put in the pathways image form that you saved as a piece of stationery. Also the logo at the bottom. Just remember there needs to be a little bit of space, the logo, so it's easily seen. But that's an image that I took from that branded images. I searched through them and found the one that best suited what the event we were talking about. Sometimes the images can be a bit Americanized and it's hard to find one that really fits your event, but you do the best you can. Another example of an image is here, advertising our new parliamentary club coming up. That's another idea of an image that sort of fits what we were trying to advertise. Once you've all thought about this and you've got a bit of paper and you've scribbled down some ideas of what you're looking at doing, then you really need to think about how can we get this out? What is our target market? And what information are we trying to get out to everyone? Then I will just use an example of something simple. Go something like, yeah, this will do. Something very simple like this, as an example. Probably at the top or somewhere, you need to think about who are you? Because that's most important is who is this is. And we got Brisbane and Eastern Division, but you could put your club somewhere in it. Who, then the what. The what is the judges workshop training, put what, and then the why. When people are reading it, why do people come to this event? Sort of similar to Facebook. When they read a Facebook page, why should I be reading this Facebook post? What's in it for me? Like this. We shouldn't really just advertise it to other club members, but it depends on the target market. In this case, it's to other fellow Toastmasters because it's a judges training. But if it was a open house, you'd tailor it more towards guests who have no idea what Toastmasters is about, because that's your target market. And then put a few points in about what, why people should attend. Probably I say 3 points at the most, and make it snappy to the point. This is why we can come. Add some details in, and then send it away. Make sure that they've got the what, the why, and also some details to contact you back. Also, it's optional to put a Zoom link on there if you want to, but I would recommend, if you do, or even if you don't have a Zoom link, always add extra information to the flyer. Like say it's on Facebook, add a post with the flyer. If you're sending an email, add a bit of information with the flyer, a bit of context to say why you're sending it, but also, and most importantly, put the actual basic details in the message as well, to say something like judges training on the 12th of August here's the 10 till 12, here's the Zoom link, contact whoever if available. The reason why I would do this is, say you send an email or a Facebook post and the image for whatever reason doesn't show, they have computer problems, or you're out in Area 31 or North Queensland and lack of internet issues and you've got no bandwidth and you've turned off images. You've still got the basic information there in text. But for those who want to share the flyer, they've got it there to go. So when we go back to our very basic flyer here, you can enter your text and you could, if I go back here and share screen, you could very basically, you could center your text, type in a heading, say, down under club. And you can make it, say, bigger. And you can pick the font. Just remember, we've only got a certain number of fonts we can use. Mostly Arial and Montserrat are your two fonts. I pick Montserrat, that will do. You can bring it down. And if you want to
a question,
yes,
Jim, there's a question in the chat, Jim.
Can you read it to me?
Can we use our own members as members' photos as images?
For officially branded flyers, no. It has to be from the branded list that I showed you before. For flyers, to keep 100% on brand. And then you can add the other information down below, as I've showed before, just an example. And you can keep going with this. Do we have any questions so far?
2 minutes left, Jim.
Yeah. With that, I'll hand over to questions. Yes, Maury?
Jim, I just missed the name of the design program you were using.
I'm just using like Word or Microsoft Word. You can do this in. However, you can use Photoshop if you want to go more in depth with this. I was just using Microsoft Word or equivalent because that's something everybody has. It's a very basic for those who aren't so tech savvy. Yes?
I was going to say to Murray, that technique looks like it will work absolutely exactly the same in PowerPoint and Canva as well.
Yeah. And the one last thing I recommend is, if you can, save the document twice. Once as in whatever, say Word or whatever format your program uses for easy access to editing, and then also as a PDF, and probably third as a JPEG. Reason being, once you can easily edit it when you need to, 2, PDF to send to email it out, and third, a JPEG for Facebook, because Facebook doesn't like PDFs in images when you try and put it into a post, but it does JPEGs well. So for me, if I go very quickly to share screen here, this is for me, but it would differ for you. I can go into export and I can pick Word or PDF. Say I pick PDF, then I can pick whatever and then go and save it as PDF or as a Word document. I can do it as a JPEG, but it takes a bit more effort. But so in conclusion, the idea here is to first download the brand manual, have a good look through that. Remember, we've only got 6 colors: red, blue, gray, black, white, and the yellow is a accent color. Secondly, make sure you've got all stationery from the website, the logos and photos you can use. And then thirdly, do a template at the beginning of the year, and nice to share it with your club as well to make it easy access, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you do a flyer. And lastly, get a bit of paper.
See it better here. I never mind repeating on this up because I don't put this word off here.
Mute that. Just get a bit of paper and scribble down what you want, and then off you go. And if you want to get very creative, there are a couple of other options I have done. as a last final thing, I go to here. Here's one I did for a Area 26 contest last year. All totally branded. As you can see, the yellow is only used as an accent. And the other one I did, which is also on brand, but very different, is the Area 20 conference last year. The grey is the light grey that we're allowed to use as the background color. And you've got the black and the red and the Toastmasters logo. So there's quite a little options you can do with the, and also if you're using Photoshop or others, feel free to use, you can use effects. Like as you can see, I've used a shadow effect around the squares. You're allowed, feel free to use those because it's still on brand. Do we have any final, did you all see that? Yes? Okay. Do we have any final questions before I wrap up? No, with that, I'll hand back to Con.
Put your hands together for a wonderful session from Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
And also, if you ever get stuck and you can't find anything on the Toastmasters International website, if you're not going to the resources, as Jim explained, whatever it may be, whether it's the Club Leadership Handbook, the brand manual, whatever you're looking for, just go into the search bar of the international website and search what you're looking for. For example, I went on my other screen in the search bar and typed brand manual, and it came up there, and I can download it directly onto my laptop without having to go through the resources. If you're navigating through somewhere and you forgot where to find it, just go to the search bar and search for what you need. But very well done. Thank you very much for a wonderful presentation, Jim.
Con, can I add very quickly to that? You can also go into Google and type in Toastmasters brand manual, and it's a top image there as a third way. For
fantastic.
Toastmasters, then what you're after. Back to you.
Thank you. That's a great idea, Jim. And also, I've been using that, Jim, when I've been looking for a particular project in my pathways. So instead of going through pathways, I just go to Google and search for effective coaching, level 1, project 2, and I know your audience, and I just type it into Google and it comes up straight away if I can't be bothered navigating through the international website. But thank you very much. That was a brilliant session.